Hi, welcome to the Africa Podcast. My name is Brandon Collins, and on this episode, I'm speaking with Kathleen Bertrand from the BronzeLens Film Festival. Kathleen Bertrand is the co-founder of the BronzeLens Film Festival in Atlanta, which began in 2009 with the aim of promoting the city as a film mecca for people of color and to showcase films by filmmakers of color. Kathleen has been instrumental in the festival's growth, which has become a significant platform for independent filmmakers, providing networking opportunities and developing the next generation of filmmakers. Her dedication continues to elevate Atlanta's status in the film industry, fostering inclusivity and diversity in cinema. We talk about all this and more in our wide-ranging conversation, which will start in just a moment. The Africa Podcast is sponsored by Morgan Stanley Global Sports and Entertainment. Hi, Kathleen. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I'm always curious how folks in your position who, help run film festivals, what the end of your year is like. Are you just kind of making sure everyone has delegated tasks? Are you, checking out movies yourself because it's award season? Like what's your day to day as the year wraps up?
Well, the year never, it's not a calendar year. Our year is the festival year. And so while the festival ended at the end of August, submissions opened in October. So we are already gearing up for 2025's festival. We're accepting submissions and they're starting to be judged. In addition to that, we have an event that takes place March 1st. It's called the Women Superstars Honors.
Fantastic.
And it's our opportunity that we've used each year to honor the amazing women of color for their work in front of the lens and behind the lens. We have honored almost close to 70 women over the past 15 years at the Women Superstars Honors.
That's fantastic. And that's
Yeah.
such important recognition to give. What is your,
And so
yeah,
there's
sorry.
no slowdown, essentially. There's a
Yeah.
little break, but right now we're gearing up to be able to start rolling out marketing information, ticket sales. We've got a committee at work that works
Okay.
with us. We have a host committee made up of amazing women that are here in Atlanta, and they contribute to a scholarship that we have. Half of the money that they give to us as a host committee member goes to the festival, and the other half goes to a Bronze Lens Creators Scholarship
Oh, amazing.
that we give at the end of the summer. We have done this for 11 students so far, and we've raised $51,000 in scholarship money, separate and apart from the festival. So they're gearing up now. So like I said, there's really no
There's no
downtime.
slowdown. Okay, I see you. I see you. And on top of that, you do so many other things. You're a
True.
singer, you're a performer. I mean, and you also have a family. So it's just, how do you balance all that work-life
True.
balance? How do you achieve that?
Well, Bronze Lens, I was just telling someone the other day, is like the baby that needs a lot of
Hmm.
attention, you know,
You're still relatively
because
young.
I just I thought that when I retired from my position at the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau, where I had worked for 32 years. So when I retired, now I can really concentrate on my singing. And I'm still singing. I've
Mhm.
never stopped. But Bronze Lens, that baby that needs the attention, keeps pulling you back into, well, mommy, I need this today, and I
Mhm.
need your entire week of attention. So it's a difficult balancing act for some, but because I balanced a corporate life and a performance life for some 20 years or more, it's not as difficult for me. I just kind of work it out. You keep that calendar close
Yeah.
by at all times. You never take a gig on the fly. You
Yes.
never
Yes.
commit to anything on the fly because you may not be available. And then I just make it work out. Just work it out.
I appreciate that, Kathleen. I had a big smile on my face because it's very rare for me to be able to meet other folks who've had a similar life. Like I used to have a corporate gig, and then I would do my comedy and live events separate from that. It's very
Yeah,
interesting balancing those two different lives. And you're absolutely right. You can't take a gig on the fly, because then if one thing goes wrong in your schedule, now everything is
that's right.
out of
That's
control.
right. Or no, or they'll call you the day before and say, well, see,
Mhm.
because experience will teach you. They'll call you the day before. So are you arriving at 5:30 or 6 or for sound check? And your brain is like, what am I doing a sound check for?
Yep. Okay.
Don't you remember? You said you'd
Yeah.
come to my mother's birthday party at so lesson learned. You only got to teach it one time for
Mhm.
me.
Absolutely. I would love to take a step back and kind of talk about the origin of Bronze Lens and how that came to be, and how you came to become a co-founder of it.
Yes. Bronze Lens began when I worked for the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau, as I said earlier.
Hmm.
I was Senior Vice President, Community and Governmental Affairs, at the time, highest ranking African American, highest ranking woman at
Okay.
the organization. And I've had a great career. My area had been diversity marketing. And in 2008, we had a brand new CEO who came in, and he had come in December to really start in January. And so the last day of the season before we all took a break for holiday, he called me to his office. Now my brain was like, okay, here we go. We're cleaning house for
Hmm.
the new guy. But it was nothing like that. He
Okay.
just said he thought that Atlanta should have a film festival that related to people of color, since my area was diversity marketing, and since Tyler Perry was there.
Hmm.
His directive was, why don't you see what you can do with that? His background was that he had a place in Sundance. This is the CEO of the Convention Bureau. He had a place in Sundance, and he would go out and he would see what the film festival energy does to the city. And he thought that Atlanta could do more like that because we are this base that people know,
Yes.
especially people that look like you and I. So I did some research for about 3 months, just really, it was not my area of interest, jazz festivals,
Okay.
but
What kind of
not film.
research did that entail? Like the
That was looking to see what else was in the market
okay.
and what else was in the country,
Mm.
and what did they do? What their web pages look like? What are they talking about? What are they, what is the interplay? Now, of course, these days with social media, there's so much more information
Mhm.
that's out there. But I was able to find all of the film festivals that were in Atlanta that were run by people of color. I was able to find the other key festivals in the country
Okay.
that were appealing to people of color. And that's kind of where I started with, what can we do to either be a part of this, change this narrative some kind of way, influence this. And so I did meet with the other festivals in Atlanta. And my talk to them was that should Bronze Lens be successful, then we are that rising tide that all boats can ride,
Mm.
because the Bureau has the big voice,
Yep.
of all of the other smaller festivals. My CEO had never heard of any of them. And he says, well, you're going to need national attention, because Atlanta is that place. And that was what I did in diversity marketing, bring attention to Atlanta as that destination for meeting planners or visitors. Atlanta was the number one at the time visitor destination for people that wanted to come to an African American city. It was the number one for Black visitors. I think that was how they called it, or Black tourism.
Okay.
So that was the genesis. It
Mhm.
started in my work at the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then I started to reach out to people. I reached out to Cheryl Gripper, who was a Spelman sister,
Mhm.
a sister English major. And
Okay.
she had been in journalism. She had been a producer at one of the ABC, maybe it was NBC affiliates
Okay.
here, and just had a stellar record. And then she reached out to Deidre McDonald, also a producer, who also was an Emmy winner, and they both had extensive ties in that whole film world. Cheryl had started the Black Women Film Network. Deidre had won a couple of Emmys and was an instructor at Clark Atlanta University that also had a communications program that dealt with film and television production, et cetera. So that was the team that was most helpful in launching Bronze Lens. And our first festival was 2010. To that festival, Ava DuVernay came and
Okay.
brought her first film, and Ava's film won Best Feature and Best of Festival that year. And then we had the women superstars all at the same time, and she was our emerging superstar winner that year. So that was how we launched. That following January, like 4 months later, because we used to be a November event.
Okay.
4 months later, we get a call, an email rather, from Ava, who was telling us about this new distribution group that she wanted to start. At the time, it was called Affirm, went on to become Array. But we felt like we were the toddlers because everybody else that was a part of the launching team, these festivals had been around for some time. But Ava felt that she said, you guys were so organized, and I didn't feel like I was at a film festival that was having its first year. And I really appreciated that, took that to heart, and continued to try to do better. But it was great having that kind of launch with
Yeah.
Ava. That way your name gets into Ebony Magazine, or it gets into the New York Times,
Yep.
it got LA Times, things like that, all within our first couple of years. And then having the Convention and Visitors Bureau as the incubator, that really took the load off of the work, that we could just concentrate on the work. Didn't have to worry about how the bills were going to get paid for the
Mm.
electricity, or didn't have to worry about space, didn't have to worry about computers
Oh wow.
or
Okay.
postage, or even our website. The Convention and Visitors Bureau built our first website. Their team built our first website. So we really could concentrate on programming and attracting people to Atlanta, and at the same time talking about the greatness of Atlanta as a destination and as this film mecca.
I greatly appreciate that. That was so informative and so illustrative of all the work that you all are doing, especially on behalf of the community. Because especially in a time like this, it's for us by us. And like
Yes,
it really is.
absolutely,
Could you
absolutely.
could you speak a little bit about what the process is for a filmmaker who is hoping to have their work considered for the BronzeLens Film Festival?
Certainly. We have a submissions process that lasts 6 months. So it usually opens in October.
Okay.
The early registration closes December 31st. Those are the lowest registration rates that we have this period
Mm.
now. And then regular registration is through March 15, I believe. And then the late registration is through April 15th. So all total 6 months. Um, and we're constantly reviewing the films, constantly judging the films. Those films that are scored the highest will be made the official selections. And we announce the official selections in July of each year before the festival takes place in August. What I would say to a filmmaker is do your best work, really.
Okay.
And that's every aspect. That's, the sound, that's the acting, that's the production value, that's the lighting, every aspect. Do your best work, because we've had beautiful films, but you can't hear what they're saying, or
Yep.
the storyline does not have great continuity. So make sure that it's your best work, because what might be acceptable to another film festival,
Hmm.
and I've had that blowback many times. Well, we got in such and such, we didn't get it. Yeah, but that's only because it's not that your film wasn't good. It's just that there were so many other films that were better.
Mm.
And that's really what happens. There's so many filmmakers now that are doing excellent work. And it becomes even hard for us because we have limited time and limited space. If we had 2 weeks, if we
Hmm.
could grow to 2 weeks, we could show 200 of the most amazing films. But we don't have that time or that space. So then you have to narrow it back. And it's hard.
Of course.
It's hard because there's so much excellence and so many well-told stories that are out there.
How do you follow up with talent that unfortunately don't make the roster for that year?
Yes, we send a letter. They
Okay.
get notified the very same day that everybody else gets notified. So there's one group that gets the "you were accepted" letter,
Mhm.
and there's one group that gets the "we're sorry, your film was great, but we could not accept it this year.
Yeah.
Please come back, try again." That they can get an alum discount rate. You know, we encourage people to keep trying because that is the process. For many filmmakers, applying to Bronze Lens is their first stop, but it need not be their last
Mhm.
stop because to get in that whole film festival experience throughout the country is an awesome experience. And what people also should know is you should have a budget. And I know that's hard. Everybody's really penny pinching and trying to scrape together the money. But to write to a film festival director and say that, well, we spent all of our money on our film and now we don't have any money for a submission fee, says to me that you didn't plan your marketing, that you didn't plan for a budget
Yeah.
for marketing in everything that you planned for. And to do the film festival circuit is a planned activity that requires a budget.
Absolutely, because it's not just submissions, right? It's travel, it's lodging, it's business cards
Exactly.
for networking and stuff. You can't just give someone
Exactly.
your Instagram handle and think that that's it. You have to be professional about it.
Exactly, exactly. And there is value in being present and being in the moment and seeing people
Yeah.
and talking to them eye to eye. I mean, we've had so many connections that have happened at the festival where someone meets people that they wind up producing with, or someone that they wind up putting on their crew for their next project. And those are the things that can happen live. So there's a great value in addition to all of the workshops and the
Mhm.
screenings and everything. There's a great value and just talking to people. So we highly encourage people to come, whether even if you're not selected, there is still a submission, not a submission, but an admission registration so that you can just come and see the caliber and quality of films that we have. But like I said, we reach out to everybody at the same time. And if someone writes me and asks that question, well, why wasn't my film chosen? I can give them the detail of the score, but it's not something that I publish or
Okay.
that I talk about. And I can let them know, well, overall it was okay, but here's some areas that were weak, because I can do that based on the scoring of what has happened. There's a score for all those areas that I mentioned. There's a score for that. And you may have had, nines and out of 10 and something, and then a 6 or 7 and something, you just like never know. But I can give them that detail if a filmmaker asked about it.
How'd you determine that scale and what elements of filmmaking are considered when you're evaluating the projects that are submitted?
Actually, Film Freeway
Okay.
has a scale.
Got it.
They
We follow
have
that. Okay.
criteria that's there, and that's exactly what we use.
Okay, perfect. So, folks, if you're interested, Film Freeway, they have it all broken down on their website so you can see how
Mhm.
these scripts and projects are, film projects are
Mhm.
evaluated. Absolutely. Um,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are 10 areas, that
mhm,
much I can tell you. And I mentioned some of them previously,
mhm,
but that's exactly the things that we look at. And you can get 10 out of 10,
mhm.
9 out of 10, 8 out of 10,
Yep.
and even less. But if it's below, really, the scores, if they're between 8 and 9, more than likely they won't make the final cut
Mhm.
because there's so many
Yep.
9.5s and 9.6 and excellent, excellent films. There's some amazing filmmakers out there
Well,
right
that's
now.
what I was gonna. One of my follow up questions was gonna be: Who is a filmmaker um, in the past festival that really has impressed you? That their work just really resonates with you?
Oh, I would probably say Felicia Henderson,
Okay.
who as a producer, director, has done extensive work before doing this film project called The Rebel Girls, that talks about a group of young women in Georgia many, many years ago that were jailed for a day. and just kind of the stories that came out of that. It was a short film that she created, just a beautiful film, and it won our best short, also best actress and best of festival. So that's the one that I would say. I know she recently submitted for that Oscar short list. I don't know if the
Okay.
list has been released or not, but the winning short at Bronze Lens, because we are an Oscar qualifying film festival, the winning short gets to submit their film to the Academy for consideration of being on that short list.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yes.
Given kind of the current state of the entertainment industry, also politically, from your perspective, what do you think are the biggest barriers these days for filmmakers of color, and how does Bronze Lens work to help address some of those?
I think the biggest barriers are still having, I mean, at least for us as a festival, it's being able to have those relationships at the levels where I can say, hey, here's Felicia Henderson's work. You should consider that or take a look at that or take a look at her other work. I know that many festivals have relationships with sponsors, et cetera, that have pathways straight to some kind of project. And I know that that's always a challenge for the filmmakers. Okay, everybody saw my film. Now what? Who do I need to contact? Who do I need to send it to? Where can it go? And so we are constantly working on that avenue. We once had a great relationship with Turner before it was
Oh yeah.
still all the big names, CNN, Docs, and HBO Connection, but they literally would sit down with all of our Bronze Lens winners and talk to them. And out of that, we got a guy that got 2 deals on HBO Max. And so I know when our filmmakers are in the presence of the people that can make the decisions, I know that great things can happen. So I have subsequently created a lookbook for a couple of our key sponsors for that same reason. A lookbook being a look at all the Bronze Lens nominees
Mhm.
and, a clip of their work, the synopsis, the full information about this film for consideration to see just what can happen in programming. It's a constant push. It's a constant push. On one hand, you're constantly pushing for sponsor support and dollars so that you can exist. And on the other hand, you're constantly pushing to make a pathway, to make an opening for the marvelous work that is still coming forth. And so when you talk about challenges, I think going back to your original question, for people of color, it's to not give up hope that our stories still have value. Because I think you can be very frustrated with uh, the no's. And as Suzanne DePass said at one of our superstar events, she says, it only took one yes, though, to change things totally around. She says, I could take all those other no's when I got that one yes. And I would say that to our filmmaking community. A filmmaker makes films. So keep making your greatest work. I started with that so that people can see your skill, so that people can see your talent, and so that you can tell our stories as no one else can. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't give up hope. Increase your community of people that you work with, that you connect with, that you intersect with, because that community is what also sustains when the pendulum swings the wrong way. And that community really can lift and push you back on out there to keep doing great work.
1,000%. That was incredible how you put that all together. I do have to. I would be remiss though to not point out that some of the things you've been pointing out, also some of the common thread is marketing and being effective in spreading your message and
Absolutely.
reaching out to various communities. What has been, or what would be a big recommendation you would give to someone who is interested in maybe doing their own film festival or doing a similar event for their community that is deep in the arts? What
Sure.
would there be a marketing book, maybe a podcast, anyone that you would recommend that they they listen to or
I
check
don't
out?
know. I don't follow podcasts like that.
No worries.
I would say start with your community. The people that are
Mm,
closest to you are the ones that know your story best. Not only do they know your story, but they know how you work so that they can help you tell your story in words perhaps that you can't use. And every friend has a friend who has a friend who has a friend. And I think when we start small and reach out with our immediate community, that helps us push out into various other communities. In our instance, for instance, I started with people that I knew. Cheryl Gripper was someone I knew from Spelman. Terry Vismail Morris, who handles PR, is also someone I knew from Spelman. Then Terry knew someone that worked on something. And then there was a young lady that knew me from the jazz festival. She had been working with them, but that's how she knew me. But she also did great work behind the scenes as an operations manager. And so that's Nina Nchege, who's still with us, and she's our producer of our special events. But these were people that I knew or that knew me. And then you encourage and you empower so that those people, when they have caught the passion, can go and do the work that needs to be done for you to expand and to be your best. Everybody knows somebody,
mm,
but you got to get out there to ask the questions and to connect and contact with people. I've been to cocktail parties and events and things that really I would be home in bed. Okay. But you go because somebody needs to see me and I need to just say the words bronze lens in front of their face so they can ask that question. Well, when is it? Well, let me send you the information. Those that's real. It's not just the schmoozing to schmooze, but networking is a real skill, I
Yes.
would say, to be out there and market one-on-one before you get into the world of social media or before you get into the world of PR. Really build that network of people that are close to you that believe in you and that believe in the work that you do.
What are you most looking forward to with the next iteration of the Bronze Lens Film Festival?
Well, we just had our 15th year.
Mm,
So this
congratulations.
year is Sweet 16. you know. And I'm looking forward to honestly being in a great theater. We were at the Terra Atlanta this past year. Let me just point this out very quickly. Until post-pandemic, we were screening our films in hotel ballrooms. And I know it's been done. I went to Bentonville that would get all this press, and I'm
Yep.
like, oh, but they're in a room. This is not a theater. So I didn't feel bad because it turned out that we would outfit the hotel room like a theater. We had the velvet stanchions and velvet drapes and special seating and the huge screen. And we made it special, but as a filmmaker told me that everybody wants to be in a theater, though. That's
Mm,
nice, but everybody wants to be in a theater. So our goal coming back after the pandemic, and let me also say, we never shut down during the
wow.
pandemic. We had just had our 2019 festival. We had our 2021 festival. We had our 2020 festival. And then we came back in 2021 live in a theater. And that's an experience so that's only 23. We've only done it 3 years and we can't go back now because our filmmakers love bringing their friends and bringing their family to name the theater, you name it. They want to do that and they want to come and see their work. And they are so excited about being a part of Bronze Lens. So I'm excited about getting back to our theater experience. I'm also excited about some of the special screenings that we have coming up this year that I can't talk about,
Okay.
but we have some partners that are working with us to expand our audience. And so we've got some great screenings that are coming up leading up to the film festival. And then, of course, my number one push right now is being excited about the Women Superstars honors. I wish I could tell you my honorees now, but I cannot release that information yet. It's coming soon, and you can just, send me another link and we can have this conversation all over again.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna hold you to that. Please tell the listeners how they can keep up with all things Bronze Lens Film Festival and with the important dates that are going to be coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. All things Bronze Lens are at www.bronzelens.com, BronzeLens.com. And if you scroll to the bottom of that opening front page, landing page, you will find a place to sign up for our newsletter. We have a Bronze Lens newsletter that comes out about every 2 weeks. And all of the deadlines, all the new information, any of the latest and greatest, what we're watching. If you're a Bronze Lens filmmaker, that you've got something coming out on screen, then we talk about all of that in our newsletter so that people have a sense of what we call the Bronze Lens family. So two things. BronzeLens.com, and then go down to the bottom of the page and just sign up for our newsletter. And that way you're aware of all of our deadlines. Most current deadline, December 31st. After that, March 15. After that, April 15. And then in July, we will announce the official selections of Bronze Lens 2025, with the festival happening August 20th through 24th.
Fantastic. I'm definitely putting it on my calendar. I have to come see
Yeah,
this. It's going to
yes,
be
you
fantastic. I'm
should.
so
You
excited.
should. You should.
Kathleen, thank you so much for your time and this great conversation. And looking forward to seeing the 16th year.
Yes, Sweet 16, I'm telling you.
Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Kathleen Bertrand. We look forward to you joining us for the next episode of the AFCA podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you'll learn about new episodes as soon as they're released. You can find all things AFCA at AFCA.com or follow us at AFCA on Instagram. Have a great day.